Abraham Quintanilla, Selena Quintanilla's father, passes away at the age of 86. At the age of 86, Abraham Quintanilla Jr., the father of the late Tejano music legend Selena Quintanilla and the man who helped her go from a family band to global fame, passed away. His passing signifies the end of a significant period in the history of Latin music, one that was molded by selflessness, self-control, faith, and an unwavering faith in his daughter's ability. According to people close to the Quintanilla family, Abraham died on December 13th while surrounded by family. Fans, musicians, and members of the Latin music community have been paying tribute to a man whose influence extended well beyond the stage, even if the family has chosen to grieve in secret. Abraham Quintanilla was Selena's manager, mentor, guardian, and biggest supporter for many years in addition to being her father. His life narrative, which is full of optimism, adversity, controversy, and enduring influence, is intricately linked to hers. A life prior to notoriety. Abraham Quintanilla led a modest existence defined by diligence and tenacity long before stadiums, platinum records, and sold-out concerts. He was raised in a Mexican-American home when possibilities for Latino families in the U.S. were scarce. He was born in the late 1930s. Early in life, Abraham served in the U.S. Army, which gave him a strong sense of duty, discipline, and order, qualities that would later characterize his approach to overseeing his children's careers. He did a variety of occupations to support his expanding family after serving in the military, including factory work and unsuccessful entrepreneurial endeavors. But he always had a special place in his heart for music. He was aware of the potential and challenges of the entertainment industry because he had previously been a member of a vocal ensemble. Later on, when he saw something unique in his youngest child, that background would become significant. Finding Selena's potential. Abraham discovered Selena Quintanilla's innate musical talent when she was still quite small. She was able to perform with confidence well beyond her years, sing in pitch, and recall tunes with ease. Abraham saw promise in this, whereas many parents might have considered it a pastime. He took a risk that would alter the family's existence forever. He and his kids started a band. Selena took over as the main vocalist. Her sister Suzette played the drums while her brother Aby handled bass and songwriting. Selena y los Dinos was the name given to the group. What came next was years of effort rather than immediate achievement, years of pain and sacrifice. Financial difficulties and frequent travel characterized Selena y los Dinos' early years. The family frequently gave performances at informal neighborhood gatherings, street festivals, quinceañeras, and weddings. They lived out of a tour bus at times. Abraham made the decision to shut down his own company in order to devote all of his attention to running the band, which severely strained the family's finances. Abraham lost his business when the 1980s oil crisis struck Texas. With few other options, he gave the band his whole attention because he thought that Selena's future rested on her unflinching commitment. In order to allow them to tour, the kids were removed from formal schools and instructed at home. Abraham defended this choice as essential to their success and survival, even though it was later criticized. In retrospect, it's evident that those years shaped Selena's theatrical persona and work ethic. Additionally, they reinforced Abraham's dual roles as manager and father, which frequently clashed. A protective father and strict manager. The management style of Abraham Quintanilla was well known for being severe. Almost every facet of Selena's career was under his supervision, including her personal connections, interviews, and performances. In a field where exploitation is common, he felt that the only methods to keep his daughter safe were via order and discipline. His commitment was recognized by many. His domineering personality was criticized by some. Abraham himself saw the challenge of juggling career and fatherhood. He frequently claimed that his regulations were intended to protect Selena because the entertainment industry was risky, particularly for a young Latina woman. Later on, the meaning of this protective instinct would become catastrophic. Overcoming obstacles in Tejano music. Selena y los Dinos gradually gained popularity under Abraham's direction. Despite not being her native tongue, Selena performed mostly in Spanish. Abraham believed that maintaining a connection to her Mexican background was crucial to her identity and profession. Therefore, he pushed that she learn it fluently. Selena broke out during a period when male performers dominated Tejano music. She was charismatic, vivacious, youthful, and female. Her performances attracted a new generation of followers by fusing contemporary musical influences with classical sounds. The band started to sell records, win awards, and play at bigger venues. Selena's fame increased quickly, and pressure followed. Abraham continued to be at the center of everything, setting up tours, negotiating deals, and developing the brand that would make Selena a household name. Selena's ascent to fame. Selena was one of the most popular Latin performers in the US by the early 1990s. Her concerts attracted enormous crowds, and her records reached the top of the charts. She started breaking into mainstream English-language markets, received a Grammy Award, and made appearances on significant television shows. Abraham was cautious but proud. He refrained from hurrying Selena into pop markets or Hollywood. He was more interested in long-term development than immediate celebrity. Selena's genuineness and relationship with her followers were preserved, because to her meticulous preparation, Abraham made actions that would eventually have disastrous effects, such as growing the family's economic activities to include Selena's fashion endeavors and fan groups. The disaster that turned everything around. The president of Selena Quintanilla's fan club, whom Abraham had previously trusted and given close access to the family's intimate circle, killed her on March 31, 1995. Abraham's world was destroyed by the loss. Following the incident, he was thrown into the public eye and had to deal with unspeakable grief as a father. His sorrow was evident, unadulterated, and unfiltered. Interviews from that era reveal a father finding it difficult to accept the loss of not only a daughter, but also a future he had worked for decades to create. Abraham used his sorrow as motivation to preserve Selena's legacy. Preserving Selena's legacy, Abraham assumed the job of legacy keeper following Selena's passing. In addition to managing licensing and overseeing the release of posthumous recordings, he made important choices regarding Selena's legacy. His commitment was commended by several. Even after her death, he was criticized by others for being overly domineering. Nevertheless, Abraham's efforts undoubtedly contributed to Selena's introduction to younger generations. Abraham continued to be actively involved in everything from tribute shows to documentaries to the biographical movie that told Selena's tale. He insisted on treating Selena's image with dignity and sincerity. This was personal to him, not just business. A difficult public figure. Abraham Quintanilla was never a straightforward or well-liked person. He was unreserved, opinionated, and outspoken. He did not back down from criticism and vigorously defended his choices. Supporters saw him as a father who gave up all to ensure his kids' prosperity. He was perceived by some as a domineering manager who blurred the boundaries between his personal and professional lives. Both perspectives can coexist. It is still evident that Abraham Quintanilla was instrumental in forming one of the most significant careers in the history of Latin music. His later years of life. Abraham withdrew from the spotlight in his final years, but continued to be involved in the background. He kept on his work on Selena's legacy-related projects and maintained contact with fans by making sporadic appearances and remarks. His life continued to revolve on his family. Those who knew him well say he was incredibly dedicated to his children and grandchildren, despite the suffering he carried. He lived long enough to witness Selena's impact intensify over time, with her music reaching listeners she was never able to meet. A legacy above disagreement. The life of Abraham Quintanilla cannot be summed up in a single story. It was full of loss, mistakes, love, ambition, and resolve. He was shaped by his experiences, culture, and era. Selena's career might not have been what it is now without Abraham. The obstacles Selena overcame may have remained in place for a lot longer if it weren't for his conviction, self-control, and unwavering determination. His narrative also serves as a reminder of the complicated relationships that arise when fame and family come together. Honoring Abraham Quintanilla fans are revisiting past performances, interviews, and memories as word of his passing spreads. Many people are thinking back on Selena's life, as well as the man who supported her from the start. Millions of followers who continue to honor Selena's life and talent carry on Abraham Quintanilla's complex but indisputable legacy, which is inscribed in the annals of Latin music. His family, whose lives were irrevocably impacted by his decisions, selflessness, and love, survive him. Abraham Quintanilla's journey has ended at the age of 86. However, music, memories, and the enduring voice of a girl the world will never forget continue to tell the story he helped build. At the age of 86, Abraham Quintanilla passed away, signaling the quiet end of a period that influenced one of the most compelling narratives in the history of Latin music. Many people will always remember him as Selena Quintanilla's manager and father, but to limit his life to just that would be to ignore the breadth of his experiences, the sacrifices he made, and the enduring influence he left on a generation of musicians and fans. Abraham was a father ferociously defending a dream he believed in long before the rest of the world did, and he was more than just a guy leading a career. Abraham persevered when doors were closed, record labels rejected her, and some people thought it was unrealistic for a young Latina girl to lead a band. With unyielding drive, he trusted in Selena's voice, spirit, and destiny. That conviction served as the cornerstone for Selena y los Dinos. Cultural boundaries, a lifetime of struggle, and his desire to protect his children from a business he knew could be harsh, all influenced his tactics, which were sometimes characterized as rigid and occasionally even contentious. Abraham learned discipline, caution, and resilience from his early experiences with adversity. His need to defend his family and uphold their legacy drove all he did, whether it was good or wrong in the sight of others. Abraham had a sadness that no parent should ever have to go through following Selena's untimely death. Nevertheless, he carried her memory on despite unbearable suffering. Even though it stung, he called her by name. When it could have been easier to remain silent, he told her story. Abraham became the guardian of Selena's legacy through museums, interviews, music preservation, and public appearances, guaranteeing that her legacy would never be reduced to a historical footnote. He continued to be a complicated figure in the years that followed, respected by some and questioned by others, but steadfastly, dedicated to paying tribute to his daughter. He never let the public forget Selena's identity as a young woman whose life was taken way too soon, a sister, a daughter, and a celebrity. The life of Abraham Quintanilla serves as a reminder that every icon conceals a tale of selflessness, faith, and enduring familial ties. Although his journey was not flawless, it was genuine. It was full of love, grief, ambition, and an unwavering commitment to family and music. It is crucial to remember Abraham in the richness of his life, as well as in the shadow of tragedy when the world bids him farewell. He was a man who persevered in the face of adversity, dared to dream for his kids, and carried both pride and grief until the very end. Abraham is now resting in remembrance of the daughter he adored. Even though his voice is no longer audible, Selena's legacy lives on in every song that is performed, in every fan who still finds solace in her music, and in every tale that won't let her be forgotten. Abraham Quintanilla, may you rest in peace. Although your journey is over, the legacy you protected endures.